That's Bush League. Bush League.
Punch you right in the mouth. That's Bush. Bush League.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Bush League Bros. Sports Talk. Poliakis right there. Brett Batchelder right here. We've got a lot to talk about today. We've got college basketball. A champion has been crowned. A big trade in the NFL. Major League Baseball is back. And the truth is in a little bit of trouble. But before we get into any of that, Paul, how we doing, man?
We're doing good. We're doing good, Brett. It's good to see you, man. Hope everything's well. Yeah, things are going good here. Just grinding, bro. Just getting through the last few weeks of my schooling here. As you've gone through, man, life is good, dude. I gotta admit, and just pushing through, dude. Getting the podcast back rolling. We're back on what seems like a weekly schedule here again. We've had some hiatuses, but as we've said in the past, we will never give up on Bush League Bros. I just want to comment, my lighting looks terrific today. After some minor adjustments pre-podcast.
Never too early to self-gloat. I appreciate that.
You know. So, just a little glow up, but yeah, things are good.
Yes, the glow up.
Yeah. Fenway. I'm actually at Fenway Park right now.
You sure are. You're right there in the daylight, right there, with the crisp audio outside of what is formerly Yawkey. What do they call it now?
Non-racist owner way. I don't
They renamed it David Ortiz or something, didn't they? Didn't they rename it after Poppy? I think that's what they did.
They might have. Yeah,
I think that's what they did.
Big Poppy way or something.
But, yeah. I mean, I kind of like that. But I mean, Yawkey, that's just even though he's a racist scumbag, it's such a good iconic Boston name, Yawkey.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm not here to get into any of that. We got some sports to talk about. We're not going to do any. I don't want to talk about world news or bloody Nikes from rappers and things like. We're not going to get any of that today.
We're not going to get into that. Yeah.
I mean, it might come up eventually, but I'm all do whatever you want with your Nikes. It isn't my business. Let's start with the NFL though before we get too off the rails here. We've had a lot going on with the NFL. We talked about Deshaun Watson last episode. There's been some big trades as far as moving up and down in the draft with the Dolphins, the Eagles, and the 49ers. We're not talking about that right now. We're going to talk about actual player movement because we had a big trade on Monday, late Monday afternoon. Sam Darnold of the Jets was traded to the Carolina Panthers for a 2021 sixth and a 2022 second and fourth round picks. I just want to get your overall impressions of this trade. Who do you think there was a winner in this trade?
I mean, it's hard to say. I don't know. Yeah, if there is really a winner when Sam Darnold's being traded, but I just think that clearly Darnold never worked out with the Jets, and partly some of it I don't know that is his fault, right? Like he had like 3 different offensive coordinators in like 3 years there. Like, and Adam Gase is his coach. Like, it was just a recipe for disaster. And there's a chance that he may go somewhere else and be successful. He's still young, man. Like, I'm pretty sure he's like younger than Joe Burrow.
Yeah, something like that. He's a young kid.
So there's a chance that he could still be successful in this league. We'll kind of have to see. He's got that Joe Brady guy as his offensive coordinator right down in Carolina now.
Yep.
We'll see how that can kind of work out for him. Maybe he can resurrect his career. I guess the best way to put it is, I mean, if we're talking about like a top 5 draft pick, and he's still only 23 years old, it's not like this guy is completely washed up. He still could play, man. I mean, pre-mono, Sam Darnold was actually starting to play pretty well. I don't know if you remember that. You remember some of that, like when he was like pre.
While my camera's freezing, horror. If you see that, but anyway, I'll keep talking. You keep. We're gonna. A minute.
We'll keep grinding through.
We'll keep grinding through this. There we go. All right. So Yes, I do remember
It
before
was 2 years ago
an
now,
adult got
pre-COVID
mono. Yep.
days. Yeah,
Yep. Because he
now
came back and beat the Cowboys his first week back. That was
yeah, I mean, I think
wonderful. But
anyone would die to get mono instead of COVID now. Like, you'd much rather have mono than COVID, I think. I don't really know. But
I'm not trying
before
to get
that, he
either.
was
You
like, I think
can.
it was like 2 or 3 weeks into the season, he was like kind of playing all right, and then he got mono, and it seems like his whole career has been off track since then. Am I
Sure.
right? Am I correct? So
Yeah.
I think that this is a good chance for him to. It seemed inevitable that the Jets were going to get rid of him. And I would assume this means they're going after a quarterback, which we kind of figured all along. We'll see who that ends up being, but you know, if the Panthers get a starting quarterback for, would you say a sixth, a second, and a fourth?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they get like a somehow resurrect a franchise quarterback out of Sam Darnold. I think it's worth it, but it's a long shot. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I think obviously, yeah, the Jets had to do this. I mean, they're the number 2 pick, and there were reports that the 49ers didn't even try to, they moved up to 3. They didn't even try to go to 2 because they knew the Jets wanted what seems to be Zach Wilson as their quarterback.
Yeah.
We won't talk about it on this episode, but I think Justin Fields and his stock falling doesn't make any sense to me. I think he should be the guy, but
Yeah.
I'm not an NFL exec. What do I know? But as far as Sam Darnold, this could work out great for the Panthers. But I was looking at some things. We'll throw a graphic up here. I wanted to compare because we talked about going into last season how much I hated Teddy Bridgewater's contract, a 3-year, $60 million deal for a guy who I don't know if he ever. I know that's lower starting quarterback money, but that's still a lot for a guy that you got to know. Teddy Bridgewater being your quarterback, you're not. If you somehow even get to the playoffs, you're not going very far, if far at all. But I was looking at their numbers and throwing up this graphic here. Teddy Bridgewater, he had more weapons, but he also blew away Sam Darnold in every category. I was looking at Sam Darnold's numbers. He only had like 2,200 passing yards. Dak Prescott in 5 games to Sam Darnold's 12 had almost 1,900 and had just as many touchdowns and 7 less interceptions.
Yeah.
It's Sam Darnold is either going to really work for Carolina because, hey, has Sam Darnold ever had Christian McCaffrey, assuming he's healthy? No. Has he had DJ Moore? No. I mean, they lost Curtis Samuel. This could work out, but I think I'm going to lean more towards, I think the Jets in a situation where everyone knew they were going to get a quarterback with a second overall pick, and that kind of hurt their leverage. I think to be able to get, the 6th round pick this year doesn't mean a whole lot, but a 2nd round pick next year's draft, they're saying is supposed to be better than this year's draft as far as overall depth, because really outside of, and we'll talk draft again as we get closer to it, really outside of wide receiver and maybe the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks, this isn't a very deep draft for a lot of positions.
Yeah.
So that could be a very valuable pick next year. And that's what they need. They need a whole new roster because they stink. I mean, they're picking number 2 overall for a reason. So I think we'll see what they do. You got to hit on picks, right? Like you can have all the picks in the world. Just like, this Orlando Magic team, they're going to have all the picks in the world after the trade deadline. If you don't hit on them, you're still going to stink and you're going to keep picking and those picks are going to be nothing. But I like this trade for both teams. I just think the Jets, they had to do it. And I think for the situation they were in, I like the value that they got at.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that. And I think that, the Jets had to do something. Like they couldn't stick with Darnold. That clearly wasn't going to work. So, the Jets are going to be the Jets. They're going to draft another quarterback, and it seems like the never-ending cycle of them trying to find their franchise quarterback again. Right? We went like Mark Sanchez to who was it?
Geno Smith.
Geno for a bit. Yeah.
They should have rode with the Fitzmagic. I don't even.
They should have. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it would have been a better option.
He played better than Sam Darnold, right?
Yeah, they would have been like 8-8 every year.
So. Yeah, he would accidentally win you a bunch of games. So hopefully he won't do that in Washington as a Cowboys fan. But yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, the Jets are going to be the Jets until they're not the Jets anymore. So
they couldn't even tank. They couldn't even tank right.
I mean, how I don't get the Zach Wilson hype, to be honest, and I could be very wrong, but I can only imagine the frustration. There's some empathy right there. All year, you're perfect. You're like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this.
We're getting Trevor Lawrence.
We're getting Trevor Lawrence, and Urban Meyer's come in with the franchise is saved.
Yeah.
Here's Zach Wilson and Robert Salah trying to make it work. We'll have the Jags do something.
Yeah.
That's
although like I've seen Zach Wilson play like a couple games. I've seen like some highlights. I mean, the kid can play, but I don't know. Like you've seen like this hype video of like he made like this one throw at his pro day.
Justin Fields made the same throw.
Yeah, exactly.
And pro days, I will watch. Again, we've talked about, I'm a draft nerd. I watch a lot of pro days. I love there's no combine this year, or they're talking about maybe doing a late combine now.
Yeah.
But I have watched a lot of pro days this year. Plus, there's really nothing else to watch right now. But pro days mean nothing. They're set to make this player or that player look as good as possible every single time. Yeah. I mean, was I enamored with Kyle Pitts' pro day because he looked like an absolute freak? Sure. But I mean, these guys are throwing to guys they've always thrown to. No pressure. They're in shorts. I want to see what they can do when the moment's right in the nitty gritty. Again, I could be totally wrong. Zach Wilson to me reminds me of Baker Mayfield a lot. And maybe that's why I don't like him, because I think Baker's overrated, but what do I know? We'll see.
What do you know, Brett? Yeah.
I mean, I know a whole lot.
You're our draft analyst. Yeah.
I mean, look,
draft analyst, Batchelder.
I may be right all the time, but I could, that streak could fall. It could fall.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'll be humble here, but where I'm not going to be humble is our last NFL story. Again, we'll start deep diving into the draft probably on the next episode. We'll start going over team needs and evaluating divisions and things like that, because we are about 3-4 weeks away from it. So it is time to start talking about it. But there's a more important thing happening, or some more important news that broke. We kind of expected that the NFL would go to 17 regular season games here starting this year, because it was talked about last year, and it was heavily implied last year that it was going to happen starting this year. The expanded playoffs and all that good stuff was happening. Yeah. And hey, look, I know player safety, blah, blah, blah. I'm a selfish consumer. It's my favorite sport. I get an extra week of, admittedly probably suffering with my Cowboys. Hey, we can't go 8-8 anymore. But,
can't go 8-8.
The formula is weird. I didn't write down how the formula of how they're going to do the 17th game, but it's going to be basically the opposing conference. So AFC will face an NFC team and vice versa.
Yeah.
This year, to kick it off, week 17 just happens to be, it's almost like the NFL, Roger, Goodell has been watching us.
Yeah.
The Dallas Cowboys are headed up to New England to face your Patriots.
Let's go.
And we got to talk about this here for a second, because I think, we don't need to have the idea right now. Not only do I think we need to be there in person for the game, but I think, we got to have a wager. We got to put some stakes
on
this game.
For sure. We absolutely got to do that. Well, we have some time to think over what that bet would be, but it definitely, needs to be wagered on.
What do you think of 17 games?
What do I think of 17 games?
Yeah.
It was inevitable. It was inevitable for one. And it's all about money. Like, they can say anything else, like any other excuse is bullshit. It's all 100% about money. And then you throw in, the players haven't wanted it for a while, but then you throw in a COVID year. I'm sure the owners were like, well, you guys are going to get paid less money then, like, because we lost money during COVID, even though I don't really think they lost that much. They lost ticket sale money, right?
Yeah, apparently just for one season though, because we're back.
Yeah, we're back. Everything's back. Yeah,
we're back.
But yeah, so we saw that, right? But I think that, so the combination of that, I mean, it was inevitable there was going to be 17 games. I mean, there was talks it was going to be 18 at one point, right?
Yep.
So I'm not surprised. I think that the NFL, they don't really care about player safety as much as they, argue that it's important. I don't really think that matters. And
I think they care, and this is going to be very cynical. I think they care in the way that they don't want to have like the CTE lawsuits held against them anymore. I think monetarily they care about player safety, but no, I mean, every decision they make is for me. And I don't really care as long as I get my football games, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, as a fan,
I'm
from a
selfish.
fan's perspective, you can't be mad at more football, I guess, right? But
And I won't.
yeah, I think back to Dallas coming up to New England.
Mhm.
I mean, it is a big game. It's two marquee franchises, but
You
I
know
mean,
that's going to be the Sunday night game.
yeah, but like the Patriots are back, dude. So like most likely we
Bro.
probably are gonna be resting our starters from that game. I'm not trying to make excuses already, but like we're probably already gonna have like the bye secured. Like Patriots are back.
No. First of all, as long as Cammy Boy is your quarterback, and I will say, I am getting very nervous that Justin Fields is going to end up a New England Patriot. I think they're going to do some tradesies and move up. But even if they do, look, the Bills have this is the Bills one more year. They got one more year to go all in. Yeah. Because whether it's Cam this year and you fix the quarterback situation next year, or it's Justin Fields learning, or if you're buying into Trey Lance, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe him, maybe Mac Jones, but they're talking about him going 3, which is ridiculous in my opinion. But again, what do I know? The Bills got to get it this year, because whether it's them fixing the situation next year or Fields learning this year and then playing well next year, I do not think the Patriots will be down for long. I do like, you guys have spent a lot of money, and I think you spent a lot of money in smart ways, and you guys are getting a lot of guys that sat out from COVID last year. So I think your defense will be better. But
the team they're going to be better. They're going to be back in the playoffs.
I would assume, I think they'll be fighting for maybe competing with the Bills for the number one seed, but to win their division, or they'll be fighting for a wild card. But the problem is, man, you guys have a storm coming. All right. Yeah, the Patriots are back, blah, blah, blah. But it's about to rain down in the form of Rain Dakota Prescott. That's the real story here. Dak Daddy is back. He's paid. He's gonna. You know what's gonna happen? You guys are gonna get Justin Fields, right? And you guys are gonna set yourself up for a good future. I like Justin Fields. I think he should be the number 2 overall pick in the draft. That's why I'm scared of him going to you guys. But what's gonna happen is these teams are all gonna go, oh, Dallas needs a corner. And they're going to jump ahead of the Cowboys, and they're going to draft Patrick Surtain. They're going to draft J.C. Horn out of South Carolina. Yeah. And this guy, Kyle Pitts, tight end out of Florida, he's just going to – he has no business falling to 10. But everyone's going, he can't fall to 10. Hey, CeeDee Lamb wasn't supposed to fall to 17 last year. The Cowboys got the best wide receiver in the draft. Justin Jefferson, he had a great year last year. Yeah. But you didn't have Andy Dalton throwing you the football. Yeah. CD did. All right, let's get that straight. Kyle Pitts is going to fall, rain from the heavens, and we're just going to put up 50, 60 burgers every week. Sure, the defense is going to give up 45 to 50 points every week because they stink. It's going to be a roller coaster, but just be ready, pal, because the storm of Rain Dakota Prescott is headed to New England. We'll probably be 16-0 by that point, but we're going – we're going to go 17-0. Then we're going to do what you guys couldn't do. We're actually going to make it to the big dance. We're going to win the big dance, eliminating you guys, in week 17. And then we're going to go eliminate your daddy, Tampa Bay, Tommy and Gronky in the playoffs. We're going to finally go through Aaron Rodgers because he's busy playing Jeopardy, or hosting Jeopardy. Great job, bro. I love to. That makes me interested in Jeopardy, but, you can go there. We're going to go to the Super Bowl, and then we're going to the goddamn moon. We're back. And I'm pumped about it. And I did not expect to go on that rant, but here we are.
I mean,
it's
a little delusional.
That's what Cowboys fans are, baby. That's what we do. We're going Undy.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, do you think that – I don't think that Pitts is going to fall to you.
First of all, you're clearly getting blown up over there. I can hear the rattling of your cellular. Oh, my gosh.
Jeez.
Look, man, I know.
I
know you got some things going. I know you got some things cooking over there. but come on, have some decorum. I don't think Pitts is going to fall to us, and we'll talk about where I think it's going. But it is very possible that he does, and if he does, look, Jerry's just going to be. They say they're going to be in the war room or whatever, but I don't think so. I think Jerry needs to go back on that yacht just like last year because that yacht was lucky. That's how we got CeeDee Lamb. We had a hell of a draft. We got Trayvon Diggs in the second, so on and so forth. I can talk about it all day. I don't think it will happen, but if it does,
you guys could use a tight end. I feel like, right?
I mean, we have decent tight ends, but this is, and I know people say, "Oh, first round tight ends never work out." Blah blah blah. Just because past ones haven't worked out doesn't mean you hold that against the guy that's in the draft this year. If you can be, I feel like everybody has solid tight ends, but
if you get a game changer tight end, it is a big factor. I mean, you look at
how did Gronk in his prime?
You look at Gronk, you look at Kelsey,
Kelsey, Kittle. Having all three of them played. Oh, and if you want to put Zach Ertz in there, you could put him too. I know he's just had some shitty quarterback play that's held him back, but all four of those guys, you could probably say they're the best four tight ends of this current era.
Oh,
and they've all played in the Super Bowl, and three of them have won.
Exactly. A difference making tight end is a huge deal for a football team.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it. I mean, I've obviously seen his his pro day highlights. I've seen some highlights on Pitts. I mean, you think you watched him at UF? Like, is this kid he's the real deal? Holyfield?
I remember the first time I saw Kyle Pitts, and this was a couple of years ago, and he just popped on the screen.
Yeah.
And then 2019, he started playing well. This guy's only been a tight end. I don't think he started playing tight end until his junior year of high school. So he's still kind of learning the position. I think the big knock on him going into last season was his blocking. That's why he didn't win I don't remember what the name of the award was, but the best tight end in the nation was because he wasn't blocking.
Or is the Mackey the offensive lineman?
I don't. I'd love to tell you, but I'm gonna get it wrong, and then
the reason I know that is remember you were playing NCAA football, you'd play like the dynasty mode, and your player would get get an award. I think it's the Mackey Award.
You could be
best tight end in college football.
You could be right, but this dude is a monster. I mean, his measurables, the only guy at his height, I think he measured at 6'4", 6'5", with a 4.4 40, or 4.44, 3 fours, 4.44. There we go. Math and numbers. And the only guy that was quicker, Megatron at his size.
Yeah.
Nobody at the tight end position has had a bigger wingspan, so that equates to catch radius than Kyle Pitts. Again, these are all prospects. There's certainly going to be bust material there for everybody, but this guy, I mean, whoever gets him, he's immediately going to be one of the best red zone players. I mean, I almost think of him more like and you probably feel the same way about Kelsey and Kittle, even though they're very more than just capable blockers. They're good blockers. They're more wide receiver than they are traditional tight end. When I think tight end, I think of Jason Witten, because that's my guy.
I wouldn't call Kelsey the greatest blocker, but
he's gotten a lot better. He's definitely made it a point to work on it. And that's what I'm saying. He's more than capable. But you think of them more as wide receivers, and that's what you want. Your tight end is a mismatched position. If you get a linebacker on him, linebacker too slow. You get a corner or a safety on them, they're too small. That's what Kyle Pitts is. Tremendous athlete. I mean, if you see the pro day, you see the way he moves. I don't really care about the straight end speed, but just what he was doing with his routes and how he's able to turn and move his body, the hips. Very impressive stuff. This guy, they are saying that he's probably, outside of Trevor Lawrence, the best player in this draft, or at least the guy with the highest pen. That's why I don't think he's going to fall to us. I think if I'm a GM, I'm picking him over any of the big three wide receivers that are there. And if he doesn't go to us, that's fine. Really, since Philly moved back from 6 to 12, as long as we block the Giants and the Eagles from getting him, I don't care where he goes. I hope he has a successful career. But I'm just daydreaming here, man, because I've got 3-4 weeks until the draft, and I'm just thinking, oh, hey, look, there's Amari Cooper. Oh, on the other side, there's Michael Gallup. Oh, in the slot, that's CeeDee Lamb. And there's Kyle Pitts. Who are you going to cover? I don't even need to worry about Zeke anymore. We can worry about Zeke. It'd be sick.
Prolific set of receivers. I will
be sick. It's not going to happen.
I would kill for that group of receivers.
I mean, you'd kill for a receiver. I mean, what are we doing here?
Oh man.
But let's
move on.
Yeah, let's get out of the. Well, is there anything else in the NFL you want to talk about before we go to baseball? Baseball? No.
We're good.
No. All right. So Bush League Bro Sports Talk here. Gonna move on into Major League Baseball. We had opening day this week. The MLB is back. COVID is dead if you're a Texas Rangers fan because you're packing 38,000 plus in your stadium, which is awesome. I mean, I don't know that there's that many Rangers fans. The Rangers stink, but baseball's back. We've got that to talk about and one more Major League Baseball topic to talk about, but let's start there. How do you feel about baseball being back? Do you care?
I do care. I do care. Maybe it's because like I live up in Boston again. Maybe I'm a little more, excited. The Red Sox, finally had a couple wins here the past couple nights.
Hey, last night, JD Martinez walk off in the 12th. Let's go.
JD. So I think I'm excited for baseball to be back. I guess I'm excited to have like normal baseball back. Last season when they started that was the worst thing for baseball to start in August. Like no one cared at all. Yeah. Plus, basketball had just started their bubble then, right? Like,
football was about to start,
trying to get started. Yeah, like no one cared about baseball last season. But when baseball starts, when it's supposed to, like this, right? Like you can argue we're in that time, like post football season, where like this is one of like the best sports stretches of the year that we were robbed of last year, where it's like baseball opening day, March Madness, baseball opening day. The Masters is this weekend, and then like we kind of get through that, and then like we're in the NBA playoffs here soon, and it's just like a good 3 or 4 month stretch of great sports content, which we were just robbed of last year. It was just awful. Brutal. But so I am excited for baseball again. Like maybe like I said, like people actually care about baseball. I feel like up here in New England, or care about how the Red Sox do. So, and it's almost like equally as entertaining. Like I gotta admit this, like when the Red Sox are like suck and like everyone's like complaining about how the Red Sox suck, it's almost like as much of enticing like content as when they're good. If that makes sense.
Angry Boston fans are some of the most electric people to watch in the world. It's great. I mean, the only thing that's better is watching Yankees fans cry. Yeah. But that's our bias as Red Sox fans. And I get what you're saying. I think part of the problem down here in Florida, which I know spring training and everything baseball starts here every year. Yeah. But here you don't have the tradition like you do. No. It's almost like when you're down here and you're trying to celebrate Christmas. Yeah. And there's no snow
75 and 75 degrees. Yeah.
Well, yeah. You're lucky if it's as cold as 75 degrees sometimes. Yeah. It's 95 and mosquitoes are still biting you. It's kind of hard to think like, Santa Claus is going to come in that hot ass costume with his bulky ass down my non-existent chimney and drop off presents. It's hard to buy into that. And I think and I love baseball. I know a lot of people don't. I know they don't see why it's exciting. And I know a lot of younger generation probably don't have the attention span to watch baseball here, as I'm stereotyping them like the tool bag that I am. But I think part of the problem for me is I'm not in Boston, but I'm one of those disgruntled Boston fans. This team stinks. Okay. I know they've won 2 in a row now against the Rays, which is great. Shut that damn cowbell up. But man, I watched the Yankees make good moves. Yeah. I watched, the Dodgers basically take our team and win a World Series last year with it. We've got no pitching. I don't know, man. It's hard to believe in them.
Well, they got to get the Red Sox got to get Sale back, which it looks like,
it's never going to. Maybe that'll work out because I feel like every year Sale, when he starts the season healthy, he's the best pitcher in baseball until July and his arm falls off. Maybe if we can stay afloat and maybe in the wild card hunt and July hits, maybe he'll get healthy there and he'll just have a rocket arm and he can propel. I don't know.
I think the thing with this team is I think that they specifically with the Red Sox, right? Like I think they hit well enough. I think even last year they hit well enough. It's clearly just been the pitching the past couple of years. So if they can get Sale back, Eduardo Rodriguez is coming back. He missed all last season with
He's
myocarditis.
always hurt.
Yeah,
Always hurt. He was supposed to be our opening day pitcher, and they said the day before, well, he's out, he's hurt. Like, well, of fucking course he is.
He had dead arm. Which means like you just like
we know what that means.
I was like, that's just they say he'll be back in a couple weeks, but that's like the least encouraging thing you want to hear. Like, the guy who's supposed to be our best pitcher, his arm is dead. It's spring training.
Jesus Christ,
it's not a good sign. Not a good sign. But I don't know. I just want to be optimistic. I think, who knows, man? You know, we might catch some lucky breaks. Maybe some other teams in the AL East get some COVID outbreaks. I don't know. Like if we can hang in there, we get Sale back. Maybe we make a big trade at the deadline. Who knows? We got some good young talent. So
we do.
We do. Yeah,
but
Bobby Dalbec, he led the league in the AL like in home runs during spring training. So. You know, hopefully that continues.
Show me in there. I don't care. Show me the real stuff. Show me how you do in the real moments. But I mean, really, as long as the Yankees don't win anything while we're rebuilding, that's the thing that matters. If Mookie wants to win another ring, did you see the banner that the billboard that Dodgers fans put up on, I think, the street that's right behind you, since you're out there at Fenway right now? Did you see the thank you for Mookie billboard?
I have seen that. It's just painful, man.
Well, I feel like I don't care. Still a fan.
Yeah, there's like a chance, you know, there was like the curse of the Bambino. There's like a chance there could be like the curse of the Mookie, like
don't do that
at some where you know I'm gonna be like 97. I'll be like, we traded away Mookie.
No, I think thankfully, you know, that's the double-edged sword of this. I think Boston fans in general, not just just all around Boston fans have been so spoiled the last 20 years. That sense of entitlement, you guys will start calling for heads if the Red Sox don't get back to what they've been doing for the last 20 years. And that's
so you say that, right? Yeah, exactly. You say that. We do have a sense of entitlement, right?
Yeah.
But I also think because we've won so much, like we're sort of in this grace period right now of like, okay, like if if the Patriots stink, or like the Red Sox stink, the Celtics, you know, they're playing a little better of late, but like they don't make the playoffs. Like if none of our teams win for like the next how long is that grace period before we turn back into like miserable Boston fans?
I could see that for the Celtics. I could see that for the Bruins, and I could see that for the Patriots. I mean, especially the Patriots, because that's a run that's never been done. Will probably never be done again.
Off that for a long
that's and rightfully so. I mean, the NFL is the hardest sport to win a title in my opinion, just because of so many things that can change. Baseball, the one difference the Red Sox have is none of those teams, like even the Celtics, nobody cares on the Celtics really right now for kids going right now if the Lakers win a title. Like they probably don't want to see it, but it's not. If the Yankees win, there is a real hatred between those two franchises that Red Sox fans, they have been on the losing end for so long to the Yankees. Now we are, I mean, since 2000, they've got one. I mean, I think they won in 2000. So maybe they have two. We've got 4 World Series titles. We're the ones that are expected to win more often than not. I know this year that's not the case. If the Yankees get back to prominence and we're sitting there being the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, not even the Rays, the Devil Rays of the AL East, I don't think fans are going to take too kindly to that. And I don't think they're going to have the patience for it, because we don't want to get these. The only thing worse than a Yankees fan is a Philadelphia Eagles fan, okay? And I'm not going to go on my Eagles diatribe right now, but I think that's the one difference is the Patriots, they don't really have a mortal enemy. I mean, you don't like your division, but Peyton Manning isn't playing anymore. There's nobody in the NFC that you care about. The Bruins, they don't really have, probably don't want to see the Penguins win, but nobody really cares as much as they do the Yankees. And the Celtics, the same thing.
Be more like the Canadians, I think, like the
okay, that's
Canadian,
fair. Yeah. I mean, are the Canadians even relevant right now, though? Like,
it's not really the same. So, Yeah, I get what you're saying. I just think, I don't know what that grace period is where if we don't win, say if we don't win any titles for like the next 5 years, I think we definitely turn back into miserable Boston sports fans. But I don't know, man. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think
I
we
don't
got
either.
some,
I'm rocking
you
this
know.
for a reason today.
Yeah, our
I'm rocking it for
Bruins, might
the
surprise
last.
us this year. We'll
This
see.
is the last legitimate Major League Baseball champion, right? Because 19 was the Astros. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, you
Oh
are
no,
correct.
19. No, Washington was the Nationals
Yeah,
did
yeah,
win
yeah,
one.
yeah.
But I think they're the team that has COVID right now. So any team that gets COVID, they don't count.
They're
Okay,
illegitimate.
can't.
Yeah,
They're super
yeah,
spreaders, and we have to dox them or we have to cancel
yeah.
them. Whatever we got to do. Let's stick with the Red Sox here for a second to close out baseball
Yes.
talk. A lot of baseball talk on this episode. And I know it's a lot of Red Sox talk, but that's our team, guys. I mean, look, he's literally at the fucking stadium right now.
I'm literally
okay?
at Fenway
He's
Park,
there.
yeah.
He's there doing the Lord's work, right? The Lord's work. The Red Sox dropped some new uniforms on Twitter, and we'll throw that up on the screen here. They dropped some new uniforms that there's no red on them. The Red Sox have no red on them. They look like UCLA Bruins jerseys. They are yellow and blue. And I know this is to celebrate Patriots Day and also the Boston Marathon.
It's the marathon, yeah.
And they're going to unveil. They're only wearing them, I think, April 17th.
Yeah.
These uniforms stink, dude. Am I wrong here?
Yeah.
They're disgusting.
As much and I feel like a lot of people don't get it because if you didn't grow up in New England, or like you haven't been to the marathon before, you don't really understand why like those colors are important, but it's like the marathon colors. Like
I understand.
Like that's what those are like the colors you see streamed around at the marathon. So it makes sense to like local fans, but like if you're just seeing those uniforms and someone's like, oh, that's the Red Sox, not the Pirates or the I don't know, like
dude, it looks
Padres.
I will say
like
I like the hat.
Yeah.
I like the hat because blue is I mean, clearly I like blue. Blue's my favorite color. The blue B, the iconic B with blue, that's fresh. I like that a lot. Yeah. But this is UCLA Bruins nonsense. And again, I get it. I get what we're doing here. We didn't need to do it though. The Red Sox didn't need a new uniform. That's just my opinion.
It's getting to the point, like, the NBA did it, the NFL's done a little bit of it, like where it's like city edition jerseys. Like I think with these uniforms, like we can be like, all right, we're going too far. Like
baseball uniform,
we're just disregarding the team colors now. Like we're just
basketball uniforms, at least they look, I guess you could say, cool. Like I don't mind it. Baseball jerseys in general don't look cool. I mean, that's not what they're there for. It
depends,
dude. They're wearing tear off jeans or tear off pants basically, and a button up jersey. If you got buttons on your jersey stinks. We can't do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know why we're trying to make cool looking uniforms. The Red Sox already have classic looking uniforms. If you like baseball uniforms, much better than shitty ass pinstripes going down, and even these look much better than those uniforms. I mean, it's sickening, but I'm out on these. I had to throw it in there since it's our team.
You're out, I'm not. I might have to grab a hat, like you said.
Hat's nice. I do like that.
That's about it. I'd probably maybe grab a hat,
but I like hats.
I'm definitely not going to buy a jersey. Let's put it that way.
No. I know that shockingly, we're not going to talk about it right now, but this is not the only uniform conversation that we're going to have on this episode because I have to do some digging about college basketball here in a little bit.
Okay.
Before we get to college basketball here at the Bush League Bros, the NBA had some news, and it has nothing to do with any active players. It has nothing to do with any active teams. It has to do with your boy. This is a Boston-themed episode right now. Your boy, The Truth, Paul Pierce. ESPN has parted ways with your boy, who is my only, I'm a Magic fan, but I do like the Celtics unless we're playing. That team, I liked the construction of the original Big Three, except Paul Pierce, and I've said that plenty of times. But what happened with your boy Paul this week? Why? Please tell the peeps what happened.
He had a little incident with his Instagram Live, where he was having a nice little get together at his
A
house.
gathering, yes.
Nice little gathering.
Mhm.
It looked like he was, maybe playing some poker with some friends, maybe partaking in a little bit of alcohol, liquor, and then probably about I don't know, 7 or 8 strippers also with him at his house, shaking their ass on his
Clapping
Instagram live,
with no
clapping it,
hands.
no hands. He also was smoking a little blunt on there, which is not a surprise. Like if you've been a Celtics fan, like you knew like Paul Pierce smoked weed. Like even in his days when he was like on the Celtics, that guy definitely always has been blazing. But yeah, man, maybe not the most like wise business decision when you work for ESPN, which is owned by Disney,
Mhm.
to like have an Instagram live of you doing that. I think though, I think there's like some conspiracy theory to this, that like Pierce somehow wanted to get out of his ESPN, maybe get out of his contract with them, something, because I don't think that this is the thing, is like, I don't think that this is the first time Paul Pierce has ever like had a party like this, or like been at a party like this, probably
No.
even recently, right? Like, so what made him be like, I'm gonna put this one on Instagram Live?
Look, I'll tell you. I'll
Yeah.
tell you. You know, we I love a good conspiracy theory here.
Yeah.
And maybe he did want to get out of his contract with ESPN. I mean, you got so many rules and regulations you got to follow, and
Because with a lot of those contracts, like say if he were to quit ESPN, like there's a lot of times there's like non-compete, so he
yeah,
can't
and
work
it'd be
for someone
stuck
else
for
for
like
a
90
while. Yeah,
days. Yeah.
exactly. So I don't know what the details were with his contract. He still might not be able to work for someone else for a while. I don't know.
I
But
think he's already getting recruited to places.
yeah, no, yeah. But
I think Barstool
I
wants him.
assume if you get fired, that part of your contract is voided.
It's
Maybe I
possible.
don't know. Yeah,
But to say it was definitely intentional, I don't know. I mean, to say that it could be a stretch,
yeah,
because like, let me go back. Let me go way back, all the way back to last night. Okay.
yeah.
So last night, I've had some things happen this week that I'm not going to get into
Yeah.
on the podcast, but there was a reason we're recording on Wednesday instead of Tuesday. We'll just get into that. I felt like, hey, man, I need to get rid of some stress. I need to get in a better mood. So I started popping some brews, dude. And wouldn't you know, one turned into two, turned into three, turned into I need to go to Publix to pick up some more and, keep it going. Long story short, I woke up the next morning today and my kitchen was an absolute mess. And I realized that I had cooked steaks. I mean,
Nice.
no, I mean, I remember up to like 12:30 last night. That's
Yeah,
about where,
yeah.
so it had to be about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning because I didn't pass out until probably like 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
But apparently I cooked steaks. One is still in the fridge right now. I left a mess.
It's a good
And,
meal. Yeah.
there was some things apparently at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning that I was texting that I absolutely woke up and go, well, son of a mother. Like I remember
Oh,
any
no.
text before
Yeah.
12:30 last night, that's on me. Okay. Like I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
it. I'm good.
Post
I'm fully accountable.
12:30.
After that, I'm looking at it,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no. So
Yeah.
there is this substance, for those of you guys that don't know, called alcohol that
Ugh.
will make you do, kids might say the darndest things in general, but
Yeah.
a less than sober Brett Batchelder or a Paul Pierce or anybody
Yeah.
will do the darndest things. And, you get a few brews in you or whatever you're drinking, you
Yeah.
smoke a few, and you got some people clapping with no hands behind you. Things just can happen. You can get caught up in the moment, and maybe you're
Yeah.
not in that situation, having yourself in a spot to make the best judgment call. So it
Mhm.
could be a conspiracy. It could not be, though.
It could.
And
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. I still love Paul Pierce. He's probably
I like him more for this than
my favorite
as a
Celtic of
player.
all time. Right? Like he was like, people had like their Larry Bird, but I was like post Larry Bird generation. Like Paul Pierce was from like when I was like 7 to like, I don't know, to my 20s, right? Like he
Mhm,
was
yeah.
my Celtics guy, right? But Yeah, and this isn't necessarily a surprise. Paul Pierce is from Inglewood, California.
What does
He's
that mean? What are you
had other
referring to?
moments where he's he's looked a little intoxicated. I've seen him at courtside at some Celtics games since he's been off the Celtics or retired, where it looked like he was sipping, maybe lighting a few up before he came in. That's just
Gotta do what you
he
gotta do.
deserves to be able to do it. I
Sure.
think he's in California. Marijuana is legal there. It's legal in Massachusetts. I'm not against anyone partaking in substances.
Sure, do what you want to do.
It's just, yeah, when you work for ESPN, they're a little stingy with that kind of stuff. They don't want their
These are
but
grown adults. What are
on the
we?
other hand, with ESPN, like when you hire athletes that, big time athletes, what do you think, how do you think they let loose? You think they sip wine, they sip some vino at home on a Saturday night and read a book?
I mean, LeBron does.
Yeah, exactly. But like these guys don't party like normal people, or they don't let loose like normal people.
Look,
What do you think they do? They go, they go to a strip club, or they bring the strip club to their
I don't want to cast stones here, all right? And I don't want to
No,
make
yeah.
judgments on, but
Yeah.
someone else who's employed, and I'm sure there's plenty of other examples, but this
Yeah.
one that comes to my mind. Someone else that's employed by ESPN right now, Randy Moss. You don't think Randy Moss is doing the same freaking thing on a constant basis as Paul Pierce is doing?
I don't know. I don't want to cast stones just because who knows? I don't know. I think Randy Moss is kind of a family guy. I think I'm not 100.
You can be a family guy.
Check my facts. Well, I'm pretty sure, isn't Paul Pierce married?
Yeah, Paul Pierce is married. But these guys are rich out of their mind. That doesn't. What does that mean?
His wife's like, this is normal.
She was
his
probably
wife was
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I love Paul Pierce. This is the thing. Is okay. He got fired from ESPN. Okay. But his street cred, which I think was already pretty high,
Through the
where
roof.
he actually had some hits over the past couple years, because if you've actually listened to him on Inside the NBA, or some of his comments on basketball, he's been roasted over the past, saying, remember, he was like, oh, I was better than D Wade, which you can make an argument that Paul Pierce is the same caliber player as D Wade. When he said that and everyone was trashing him for it, that's not the craziest thing. I would take Paul Pierce in the clutch over Dwayne Wade any day. Both clutch players, but
Prime
Paul Pierce
Flash was amazing.
Yeah, but dude, prime Paul Pierce.
No.
Was
no.
We are doing it.
No.
Anyways,
Paul Pierce is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
But again, look, Draymond Green doesn't get a lot of things right, but when he said Paul Pierce, people don't love you. You don't get a goodbye tour like Kobe got. Dwayne Wade also got a goodbye. There's reasons. There's levels to it. Paul Pierce, I think this is going to work well for him. I think I heard, I don't remember. I can't source it. I can't remember on some podcast I was listening to.
No,
he was making $250,000 like 2,500 or 250,000 a year at ESPN. He's going to get at least that working for Barstool or doing something like that.
There's a company. I think is it a porn site? I can't remember exactly.
Oh, no. Is he going to end up on Gilbert Arenas' and Mia Khalifa's podcast?
I think it's called, what is it? It's called Cam something. Anyways,
Paul
they
Pierce,
offered
don't
him
do this.
They offered him $250,000 to be their NBA analyst, and and have strippers on with him while he talks about the NBA. That sounds like an electric show. I mean, he might have to take that offer.
We just had Easter this past weekend, and as a man of the Lord, I am not going to watch strippers and Paul Pierce give me NBA commentary. Okay, we can't do it.
I would
can't allow
tune
it
in.
as a wholesome human. You're a heathen though. All right, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
No judging here. I will be the light to
I love
your
me, yeah. I love me some
disgusting.
Paul Pierce. I'll tune into whatever his career is. I do hope that he goes and works for Barstool, though. I think that would be a
That's
good
just a
fit.
natural fit, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
They're from
They already have
Boston.
they have
He
other
is.
guys like it's not like unprecedented. Like they have like Deion Sanders works for them. They have
Who
some
we
other
talked about.
athletes that already work for them. So it's
Yep.
I think it'd be a good
McAfee
fit.
came from
Yeah.
Barstool. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So and I think it would actually be good because the one thing I think Barstool needs a little more of is like solid NBA coverage. I don't think that they have like the
Well,
best
what's
NBA
KG doing
coverage
right
yet.
now? Why don't we get KG and Paul Pierce
Bro,
doing something
KG and Paul Pierce basketball
on
podcast
Barstool?
slash
See,
show
now I
on
would watch
Barstool.
that
That would be
unfiltered.
electric.
I mean,
Yeah.
Kevin Garnett, they had to take him off TNT because he was using the curse button too much,
Yeah.
which was hilarious. They actually had a curse button, but I think he fit into there very well. I think he fit
Yeah,
into
just
Barstool
trying
too.
to edit KG on live TV. Oh god, like you'd just be you'd have to
You
have it on
can't do
delay.
it.
You'd have to
Yeah.
have it on like a 20-second delay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, you know what, Paul Pierce, you had a heck of a night. I'm not here to
Hey.
judge it. Do you have a great
We
rest of your
still love
career.
Paul Pierce. Yeah, we're not. I don't think
Paul loves Paul Pierce.
the last thing I'll say about this is
Okay.
like, do you think anyone? I mean, I'm sure there's some people, but like his general, you know, what's the best way to put it? Like everyone's view of him. I don't think like
His
anyone's
perception?
viewing Paul Pierce in a negative way right now. Like,
No, I thought it was
if you
hilarious.
are, you're a square, right? Like, I think this is only gonna boost like his, his post NBA playing career status amongst like the general public. I think that this got a lot of traction, and I think people are going to tune into whatever he does next. So
Yeah, he didn't.
maybe that's what I mean. Maybe it was a
It
conspiracy.
could be. I hope it is. I hope it is. That makes the story even better. But yeah, I mean, if you have a problem, he didn't do anything illegal. There's nothing in that video that's illegal. To me, this is just like maybe for a lot of people, this can be how I felt when your boy Brady got off the boat, absolutely wasted for the Super Bowl party this year.
Yeah.
And I go, I like this guy.
Mhm.
I always respected him. Now him and I, we're starting to understand each other here.
Yeah.
That's my Tom Brady. I think a lot of them go, hey, that's my Paul Pierce.
Yeah.
So good for him. I don't have a problem with it. I just think it's a hilarious story.
I like it. All
It
right.
is.
So what we got next?
As my earbud falls out here, let's go to the actual basketball story this week. We had, and I told you I would watch the Final Four, and I did. We have the Final Four this weekend. We have a new champion. Baylor defeated the undefeated Gonzaga Bulldogs 86-70 in a game that was never really close. I kind of tuned out of this game because it was just such a one-sided phenomenon. Gonzaga, the only cool thing is Gonzaga had a chance to be the 8th team in NCAA history to go undefeated all the way through. The first team since Bobby Knight's 76 Hoosiers to do it. Baylor stops that, and it looks like they're running it back next year. But let's talk about the Final Four. Okay, let's talk about the actual Final Four games, because I think we both agree championship game stunk.
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah, I watched the whole thing. It was just put me to sleep.
Yeah, I lost interest very quick when I realized, this game. I would check in on it to see if they can make a run. Let's start with the first game of the Final Four, Baylor and Houston. This one wasn't a good game either. But I just wanted to touch. I just wanted to touch on one thing, and maybe to help overall show Baylor's dominance. They blew out both teams. Houston, I texted you during this game. Houston deserved to get blown out. I promised more uniform conversation here. Here it is. What is Houston doing? I mean, can they not afford full-length shorts? I mean, this was 1970s. Look, and I know my neighbors and people that live around me, you start yelling hypocrite, because you can see me catching, doing yard work the past 2 weeks, or whether I'm out for walks and runs. And my shorts might not be the appropriate length for what you would wear to, a gathering out in public. They might be a little short. It's Florida. I got to get some breeze going.
Yeah.
This is a top tier university in the Final Four. What are we doing here with these short 1970s pants? We can't allow it.
Yeah, I can't. I don't understand. And this isn't just Houston. I mean, they were kind of on national display with this, but there's this trend where we're going back to like the 80s, like where there's guys that wear shorts like that go halfway up there. Like, I don't understand why this trend is coming back. I mean, like knee length is like, is there any advantage to having shorter shorts? I don't think that there is. Um, yeah, it's strange. I don't.
Look, I get
Yeah,
that
if you feel
our
comfortable
era,
playing it, okay, but yeah,
when we were growing up with basketball, I get when we started, probably safe to say early 2000s when we were in middle school and starting to understand basketball rather than just
yeah,
enjoying it. I understand that our generation was AI, KG,
yeah,
Mello, T Mac with the baggy, you can barely dribble a ball in between your legs pants. I
yeah,
get that that's probably not the best idea.
mhm,
But to go the complete opposite way, I was just watching. I'm like, I am seeing a lot of thigh in this game,
yeah,
and this is not a good enough game to be seeing all this thigh, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think you're right. Like, I think it was correct. Like, you can argue early 2000s, late night, like things were a little too baggy. Like in terms of it, just like looked ridiculous. It was starting to look absurd, and things have
Sure.
kind of evened out where just regular like length shorts, like right to the knees or a little above where or the acceptable shorts. But now, yeah, it's like we're going backwards. I don't know, man. It's just I think it's just fashion in general. I don't understand it. Like whatever was cool in like the 80s is like coming back now, and then like next thing it'll be like baggy clothes are back. So who knows, man? Like it's just you got to stay up with these fashion trends to be able to
No,
understand it all.
you
I don't have
don't.
time for that.
Nope.
I've been wearing the same style clothes since like the
Pretty much my whole life. And dude,
late
yeah,
90s.
I
Yeah,
got basketball shorts on, flip flops with
yeah,
socks, and Under Armour tee on right now. I mean,
yeah,
clearly I am not a fashion icon. I'm more about comfort, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm thinking about all the adjustments in game that I'd have to make, and I'm not talking about
yeah.
how I'm playing the game. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I hear
Yeah,
you. I hear
exactly.
you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
let's
So
let's go to
Baylor,
the good
yeah,
game. Let's go to the
Baylor
good game.
blew them out. Yeah, and then there was the
This
UCLA Gonzaga game, one of the
this
best
is
games I've seen in a long time. Yeah,
this was where, I know on the last episode I said I like March Madness, but I'm not feeling it this year. There's no real storylines. I'm not feeling the excitement because a lot of the games were like the Baylor Houston or the Baylor Gonzaga game. Not really close, no real
yeah,
story. This was March Madness at its finest. If you guys don't know, they were about to go into double overtime. The 11th seed UCLA was pushing the undefeated at the time Gonzaga Bulldogs to the brink. They
hmm
score with 3 seconds
three
left to tie
seconds
the
left. Yeah,
game. And then Jalen Suggs, am I correct? He
yeah,
just in front of the half court line puts up a prayer. And right when he released it,
yeah,
right, you could see like, oh, this has a chance.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And I was laying down on the couch, just kind of like, I'm invested, I'm in, but I'm like,
Mhm.
this has to be
Double
going
overtime.
to double
Yeah,
overtime. I can chill out for a second. I went from this to just standing up, jumping, screaming about two teams I don't care about
yeah,
because he nailed it. He
yeah.
nailed it. It was a great game. Give me your thoughts on this.
It was a great. Yeah, I mean, got to give UCLA credit, man. I mean,
They fought.
they played in the play-in game for this tournament and made it all
Mm-hmm.
the way to the Final Four. Took Gonzaga to the brink. Got to give them a lot of credit.
Sure.
It's definitely though that shot will go down as like one of the like iconic final. Like
Oh
they'll
yeah.
play that shot like along with like the Leitner shot and
Yep. Mm-hmm.
the Villanova kid who, when he beat
Yep.
UNC on the buzzer beater to win the
Sure.
national championship, like that shot will be around forever, right? And one of the better, yeah. I mean, overall, most of the game, like there wasn't a lot of great games in this tournament,
No,
unfortunately.
that's why I wasn't feeling it.
So it was good to see us get at least one. Like if we had went that whole tournament, like if that game had been a blowout, like I mean, this would really have been like one of the least memorable tournaments I can remember in my lifetime. But you know, crazy shot. You can make the argument though, man, that game probably took a little bit out of, they played less than like 48 hours later for the national
Yeah.
title. You go to an overtime game, you go down to the brink like that,
It's
it takes
March
a lot
Madness,
out of you,
baby.
man. Like that whole celebration too, like as much as like that
Yeah,
you're at
no.
like this super high and then you have to come back down and
Mhm.
then play an even more important game. I think that's probably why we saw Gonzaga get blown out by Baylor. And I mean, just an amazing game. That Jalen Suggs kid, he's gonna be like he's gonna be a lottery pick.
Come on,
He's a great
guys,
player.
let's get him.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe your Magic will get him. He's a stud, that kid.
Yeah,
So
he's great.
he's it was good. But Gonzaga, man, I mean, I don't know. Like, this isn't the first time we've seen them, get to the Final Four, and that they've been in the championship game before and lost, I believe, right? And
Well, they actually, they lost to UCLA with that was your boy Morrison. Right? You're a big Adam Morrison fan. Crying.
Yeah, was that that Final Four though?
No, that was a title game. No, it was a title game.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, they lost the title. Yes,
I don't think that was a title game.
It was.
Jeez, it might have been.
You keep talking. I'll fact check.
Yeah, fact check that. I don't think it was, but either way. But they've been, they've come into the tournament a few times even since then as a number 1 seed, and I mean it's easy. Like when I'd have to look. Like, have they even lost in their conference in the past 10 years? They lost an in-conference game. Like they play like Pepperdine and San Francisco State University.
There was a Sweet 16, so you were right. Yeah. Okay, right. I mean,
but
broken clocks right twice a day. But anyway,
but Gonzaga needs to go play in the Pac-12 for basketball. Like I get there's the Pac-12. They want you to have probably more sports than just basketball. I don't think Gonzaga has
they don't have football.
Any other real legitimate sports teams besides their basketball team. But I mean, even if they had won the national championship in a COVID year where how many out of conference games did they even really play? How
look, I don't know. If they would have won it, a COVID year, I understand there's certain things that may not be as tough, but there's also different, things that they have to deal with. I mean, they were in that they pulled an NBA. They were in the Indiana bubble for a month and a half. And for any team to potentially go, they would have gone they finished 31-1. Any team that can go 32-0. I mean, there's a reason why it hasn't been, and there goes my fucking thing again. There's a reason why that it hasn't happened since 1976, and there's a reason only 7 teams have done it. It's tough. It would have been very impressive. I don't know that I would have necessarily cared. I mean, I can't say last week that I didn't care who won, whereas this week I say I do. That wouldn't make any sense. I mean, I was kind of hoping UCLA would get the win just so we would have a lower seed in there. That's part of the intrigue of me for brackets is when, you get a bracket busted. And we had a couple of those this year, but they weren't in good games. I think it was a great game. I'm not going to take anything away from what Gonzaga did. But hey, at the end of the day, it was Baylor. I hardly knew her winning it all, and good for them.
I think, with Baylor is I watched a few of their games, obviously the Final Four games, but a few of their games this tournament, hands down, they looked like the best team the entire tournament.
They dominated.
And just the most athletic too. There was a few games, they dominated on the glass in that championship game too. They were all over the place. Just it looked like the JV playing the varsity at certain points in terms of the Baylor was just so much more athletic, just pushing Gonzaga around. I mean, just you got to give them credit, man. They went So they went 28-2 on the year, or whatever. That's a good,
something like that.
Yeah, it's an impressive team, man. And
sure,
like you said, they might run it back. Who knows next year? But I think that you got to give them a lot of credit. It wasn't a fluke.
28.
It wasn't a fluke that they won this tournament. They looked like the best team to rout. But I think a big factor, they blew out Houston. They were, they probably, I didn't even watch the end of the Houston game because it was such a blowout, but I'm sure, they were resting some guys down the stretch of that game, getting ready for the title game, where Gonzaga, they had their starters out there the whole game, high intensity, big game, a lot of emotion. That definitely played a factor in that championship game. But that doesn't discredit what Baylor did. I think Baylor probably wins that game either way, no matter what happened in the semifinal game. So
Yeah.
just it was an okay tournament. I'll give it that. I
Hey,
wouldn't say it was a good tournament.
We didn't get it last year. I'm glad we got it this
happy,
year.
yeah,
I'm glad we got it in. I mean, look, hey, really since the return of hockey and basketball, we've gotten officially every postseason that you can get during COVID. We only missed March Madness really last year.
Yeah.
So we're back. We're back. And I am just realizing that you are even more Boston today than usual. I just realized you were wearing a Mickey Ward t-shirt.
Yeah.
So very nice there.
It's a dope shirt. Look at
that. Is, I mean, that's pretty sweet. I ain't mad at that.
Yeah.
But let's move on. I know the real bracket's done, or what some would say is the real bracket. Our bracket not done. All right. We still got 2 more little brackets to do, and then we will do our final round where we decide the Elite 8 down to the final 2 to the best all time.
You want to do a power bracket, or like we'll do we should just do the 2 remaining brackets, like beginning brackets right now. Yeah, I think we should.
Okay.
Let's just hammer it.
Okay.
I know we didn't prepare. But
let's start with the GOAT bracket. Now, I sent you this, and you can see I crossed out. I realized what I meant to do.
Yeah.
John Jones was supposed to clearly be in the Popeye bracket, and Ric Flair was supposed to be in the GOAT bracket. So I brought Bones Jones back to the GOAT bracket, which it still fits. It's not as fun, but it still fits because you can easily argue he's the greatest MMA fighter of all time. So we'll start with the GOAT bracket. Here are the matchups, and then we'll get started, and then we will do the Total Divas bracket, which is the NFL wide receivers bracket. Probably my favorite name for any of the brackets. So we've got the 1-8 matchup in the GOAT bracket with Muhammad Ali versus Manny Ramirez. The 4-5 is prime time Deion Sanders versus John Bones Jones. The 2 and the 7 is Michael Jordan and Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's going to be electric. Yeah. And then we've got Tiger Woods and Dale Earnhardt in the 3 and 6. We're going to start with the 1 and 8. These are actually some pretty fun matchups now that I'm looking at and throwing my pen around.
I gotta make I honestly gotta say, I like this first one. Like, we can just move Muhammad Ali on. I'm not even sure Manny maybe should be.
Here's why I put Manny in there. Is Manny a GOAT? No. But I knew this is the last bracket that I made. Yeah. And I'm like, I have 0 baseball players in here. And I don't want to talk about, Bonds and Sosa might have been interesting because
Bonds would have been a good one, but he was just like, he's not a good personality. He's just a fucking asshole.
So Manny Ramirez, the only reason he's on here, and we will move Muhammad Ali on. Yeah. But the only reason he's on here is that this dude in the middle of games would run into the green monster, not into the wall. He would go inside the green monster. Manny Ramirez's dugout behavior and his interview behavior was why he was on here. Yeah. He had to get a baseball guy on there. I think he was the most fun baseball guy to put on here because he's the Marshawn Lynch of baseball. Is that fair to say?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's why he's on here. We're not going to waste any more time on there. We love Manny being Manny, but we will move the originator, the popularizer of trash talk, Muhammad Ali, on to the next one. Let's go to the 4-5. Okay. Deion Sanders, John Bones Jones. Where are you going?
It's a tough one, dude. This is a tough one. Deion, Neon Deion, prime time. Just an absolute, superstar athlete, had the bravado and everything to back it up. And is a legitimate GOAT at the cornerback position, right?
Yep, absolutely.
John Bones Jones, though.
I think we're gonna have a different opinion on this one.
Yeah.
But keep going.
Is he the greatest personality, or he's the GOAT, but really, he just kind of is his personality that great? Does he sell fights as much as other UFC fighters? Yeah. And
I think maybe we are on the same page. I think that's going to work against him. He's really he belonged in the Popeye bracket. Okay, this was supposed to be Ric Flair's spot. He belonged in the Popeye bracket. We know what he's done. Okay, he had the hit and run, the hiding under the ring so he doesn't get piss test.
Yeah.
Yes, the picograms, whatever they're called, as far as popping for the steroids multiple times. and then him trying to save his image by painting over graffiti and stopping a robbery that looked completely staged. He's on here for that reason. But Deion Sanders arrived to training camp in a pimped out golf cart every year. He has the iconic look in the draft where he's on the
Jerry
phone,
curl.
shades on, Jerry curl, iced out hard. I don't want to hear about the Skip Bayless drip. The Deion Sanders drip is undeniable.
Undeniable, yeah.
And it's got to be Deion. Do I need to? I'll save more of the argument for Deion.
We'll move
later.
Deion
All
on,
right.
yeah.
All right, so Deion is going on. The 2-7. This one's also a lot of fun.
Yeah.
This one's a lot of fun. We've got the greatest basketball player of all time.
Mm-hmm.
The guy, again, he could have gone in the other bracket just because, we talked about staying out partying and then going out golfing and then dropping 60 on your Celtics in the playoffs. I mean, Michael Jordan versus the Texas Rattlesnake, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
This is a tough one, dude. This is a tough one. Because, you can make the argument that Jordan, okay, he was a big personality, I guess, but he was also kind of like PC. And I think we have The Last Dance is kind of in our brains now. Pre-Last Dance, I think I might have gone Stone Cold for sure. Because, in reality, Jordan's not big, he's not out there, he wasn't, he was big in terms of sponsorships and stuff like that, but he was not a big interview guy, giving crazy quotes or doing anything like that. He kept it professional, he knew what he was, that he had to be Michael Jordan at all times. Stone Cold, it's also tough to judge him because a lot of his stuff is it's a character, right? It's not necessarily
but you got to be that character, right?
But you got to be that character.
Yeah.
So there's a part of you that is that character for sure. Man, dude.
So here we go. You ready?
I might go the upset here.
Here we go. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna get this little pop that was given to me a long time ago. We got my Stone Cold pop right here. I don't know. I can't really set it to where people can see it, so fuck it. But we'll bring pops in here. Jordan, he's on here obviously because he's the greatest basketball player of all time.
Yeah.
He has a personality. I mean, he was in Space Jam, which is the greatest sports movie of all time. That's
21st century. Yeah.
Kids. We could say the greatest kids sports movie. All right, I'm comfortable saying that. And I'm sorry, Mighty Ducks fans. The Sandlot stinks. Yeah. No, it's not the best sport. But for kids, it is the best kids sports movie of all time. And I'm really upset about. And I probably just put this in here just so I could bitch about Space Jam 2, to be honest with you. The trailer came out, looks terrible. But I'm a sucker and I'll watch it. But he was on every McDonald's commercial. And, I mean, he was the most popular. People think the Kardashians are super famous. They are not near as famous as Michael Jordan was in the 90s. This guy was everywhere. No. Nobody has sold more as far as, from their own personal brand than Michael Jordan. It's not even close. But I'm going Stone Cold here because, I mean, it's Stone Cold Steve. He's the reason wrestling became popular again in the 90s. Sold out arenas every single night. Fantastic on the mic. Yes, he could have gone in the Popeye bracket too. He had some behind the scenes issues that, we're not going to go into, and then he's worked past. But as far as personalities, even to this day, if Michael Jordan randomly shows up to a major event, let's say the Super Bowl or to the NBA, he's not, and they will introduce him. He'll get a pop. When Stone Cold comes out every once in a while to a wrestling event, the rooftop explodes. And the guys that are there, the guys and gals that are wrestling there every day, all they can do is be jealous. That's never going to happen for me because there is no more Stone Cold. Stone Cold, there was Ric Flair, there was Hulk Hogan, and then Stone Cold took it to another level. I'm going Stone Cold. We'll wrap that up there. We both agree Stone Cold?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Stone Cold here because this is the greatest sports personalities, and Stone Cold.
Yeah.
As much as Jordan is, if this was who's the GOAT,
Jordan
would obviously.
We already know that would have been Jordan versus Brady, and it wouldn't have even been a conversation.
The fact that when I just start thinking about Stone Cold Steve Austin, I just want to take 2 beers and just fucking smash them together
And just
over my
bam,
head, and then just fucking
bam.
and double bang them.
That's
The
right.
fact that's how he makes me feel even to this day. It's got to be
Yeah.
him.
I mean, he has his own day.
Yeah,
16,
he's got his own day,
316.
yeah.
And my youth pastor father never really cared for this, but anytime someone would say, "Hey, Brett, what's your favorite Bible verse?" I'd go, "Austin 3:16 says, I just whipped your ass." I mean, that is iconic. You got to throw it in there. He rewrote the Bible, and I'll stop blaspheming right now, just so I don't die mid podcast. But let's go to the 3-6 matchup. We've got Tiger Woods versus Dale Earnhardt, not Junior. Dale Jr., nice guy, nice personality. But the Intimidator, whose glasses I'll put on just for this. I'm bringing back just for this. What do you got here? We've got the greatest golfer of all time versus the greatest NASCAR driver of all time, because we're a sports show. We got golf and NASCAR in here. Where are you leaning?
This is a tough one. It's similar to the Jordan,
I think so,
Stone Cold argument, because Tiger, the GOAT at golf, right? But like obviously is tried. It's a little different though, because he's tried to remain PC. Jordan had some baggage himself that we know of, right? But I think Tiger Woods' baggage is much more.
Ran into a tree or
Tiger Woods' baggage, banging prostitutes and whatnot goes a little further than that behind closed doors, and I'm sure Jordan's the same way. But we know that behind closed doors, Tiger Woods is like a savage.
I love Tiger Woods. I'm not saying anything about it.
I love Tiger.
I'm big Tiger. I hope he gets back health. Let's go.
Yeah, I think he's somewhat embraced that over the years now that people I think he hasn't leaned into that side of him where people are like, yeah, Tiger Woods the savage, right? I don't know if he's necessarily leaned into it, but I don't think he tries to protect his image like he once did.
No.
And yeah, it sucks he's not playing in the Masters coming up here.
Yep.
Great sports personality of all time though, but still a little PC. We can agree with that.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Obviously, when I made this, I thought more. I mean, they had to have a personality, but I also wanted goats. Okay, so he's got to be, and he's clearly the golf goat. I know, Jack Nicholson and all that, blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. Nobody tuned in as much as they did when Tiger Woods was at the peak, and even when he won his last Masters, everybody was like, "Oh, Tiger's in contention. We got to watch. We got to watch."
Yeah,
I remember
the biggest sports story of the year.
Yeah, I remember that got me into golf again, and then. What kept it was him and Phil teaming up with Brady and Peyton. That also showed. I mean, he's got a little of that Jordan trash talk in him. He's got that dry. Yeah. He's got a personality in there. So he definitely belongs in this list. But Dale Earnhardt was called the Intimidator for a reason. Yeah. Running people off the track, back when it wasn't. Necessarily an encouraging thing to do. Yeah. Just that he was the everyman badass on the track. He had the black number 3. I just think I'm going Dale Earnhardt on this one. I'm going to pick another upset. I'm picking Dale Earnhardt just because I think, in the interviews, he knew how to take shots at people in ways where people would be like, okay, that's not. He wasn't over the top obnoxious with it, but you're like, oh, I see what you did there. He would get into scuffles in the garage area. And anytime he would say something, NASCAR would bend to his will. I'll just put it that way. Like, oh, well, Dale Earnhardt said this. And NASCAR, hey, look, I like NASCAR. I grew up in the Daytona area, saw him win the 500. I've been to, I don't even know how many races I've been to. So I know there's a bias there. But since Dale Earnhardt died, I know they're trying to come back now, and they've done a good job since the pandemic. NASCAR has not been the same or nearly as popular since his death. So I think that shows the impact that he's had. I'm going Dale Earnhardt on this. I don't know how much farther he's going to go in this bracket, but I'm going Dale Earnhardt. Can I convince you to go with me?
It's tough.
I'm not
you make
wearing
a good
Tiger
argument.
Woods
You make a good
glasses,
argument that NASCAR has not been the same since he died. There hasn't been anyone else that's had the same level of personality as him. Think
about this. Yeah. The only guy in the late 90s to compete with Jordan in sales, Dale Earnhardt was the only athlete to compete with him. Yeah. He was number 2. I didn't believe the stat either. I had to look it
I
up.
was at the Daytona 500.
You were a couple years ago for school.
A couple years ago, yeah. And still, people like so much Dale Earnhardt shit. Like, people fucking love that guy. I guess I don't get it as much. I grew up in the Northeast. We did have a racetrack up in New Hampshire.
Yep.
I've been up there a couple times, watched some NASCAR races. Interesting, right? Yeah, it is. It is. This is tough though. Tiger Woods, man, is like.
But I'm going because of the personality. I'm going Dale Earnhardt.
All right, yeah. Tiger Woods is kind of square. As much
I think we know. I think we know whoever won that round probably wasn't going to get past the other guy. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's jump back up though to the top of the bracket. Okay.
Jeez.
We've got Muhammad Ali, the originator of trash talk, the greatest boxer of all time, the boxer everybody tries to emulate, but no one can quite do it, versus one of my favorite athletes of all time, Deion Sanders. Where are you leaning?
Oh, man. I mean, Muhammad Ali, dude, would just like you said, the originator of trash talk, originator of like personality as an athlete almost. Like if you really think before Muhammad Ali, before Muhammad Ali, we only knew sports figures for primarily just their accomplishments on the field.
Yep.
Like we didn't see any personality out of them. It was just like their stats and like whatever it was, right? Like I'm trying really hard to think of anyone that is even close to the same level of like personality. You could argue like Babe Ruth maybe could have been on this list, but like,
even then though,
did a pair, but like there's not enough like clips or footage. I'm sure he was a fun guy. Like I'm sure he partied, but before him, before Ali, like I don't think that there really was big sports personalities.
Even if people would, I'm sure. It's competition. If I can get a word out of my damn mouth, there's going to be trash talk that we just don't hear or know about all the time. But it wasn't socially acceptable, and it wasn't mainstream. It wasn't boxed. It didn't draw. Now, if you can't talk trash, if you don't have a promo game, you can't put a little of that Muhammad Ali or professional wrestling in there. People aren't going to want to watch your fights. People aren't going to care about you as an athlete. Now it's become such a part of people's brand, and he was the guy that originated it. And I love Deion. Deion, again, he's the guy, I didn't grow up with Muhammad Ali. I didn't start really understanding Muhammad Ali probably till I was in middle school, high school, or whatever. I grew up with Deion Sanders. So I knew, just the electric personality. He had the rap albums. He was a great trash talker. Again, he was always iced out. He was Deion's a funny dude. There's a reason why he's on Barstool. Deion is a funny dude, but Muhammad Ali is that dude, and I can't pick Deion over Muhammad in this situation.
You gotta go Muhammad Ali, just because I think too, like we're both of a somewhat, we're millennials, right? Like our our bracket here may be a little more biased towards like millennial athletes, but
absolutely.
We got to have someone like Muhammad Ali moving on, because just, like it can't be understated how big of a personality he was in many different ways, not just like, trash talk, and like he like took on like the US government at one point, and like all this crazy shit. Like,
he big time personality. We haven't even talked about any of the social, because it's not really about personality. It's not really personality related, but he was huge with, civil rights and all that. And, those, minority athletes becoming, socially acceptable in the world. So, or at least in, America, when we were more trashy than we are now. Boom, America burn. Let's move over. We've got Muhammad Ali. Moving on, that's pretty obvious. I think this one's pretty obvious too. I loved me some Dale Earnhardt, but Stone Cold's got it. By God, what are we doing? It's WrestleMania weekend. Stone Cold, you got to move on. You got to rep for the brand.
WrestleMania is this weekend.
WrestleMania is this weekend, my friend.
No fans again, or
no, bro? It's Florida. They've got it's 2 nights. I think, and they're doing it at Tampa Bay Raymond James Stadium.
Yeah.
I think they're doing
Can't be full
48,000 a night.
capacity, right?
It's
Yeah.
close. It's gonna be close. They're trying. Look, dude. I mean, we're back, baby.
We're
We
back.
got
Yeah.
Monday, the 4th. A couple days ago. The COVID vaccine is now available to everybody down here in Florida. Not that anybody really was waiting for that anyway. DeSantis already said, like, "Hey, man, we're doing what we're doing, and
Yeah.
you can just follow suit." In Texas, doing the same thing. I'm not gonna get into the politics of it, but as a
Yeah.
Floridian, I'm glad we ain't closed down because
Yeah. Well, you guys are having full stadium UFC like
this month,
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, NFL's doing full business as usual in Cleveland for the draft. We're back,
Yeah.
baby. We are back. So
We
that's
are back.
that's it for the GOAT bracket. All right. So in next episode, when we do our Elite Eight,
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali and Stone Cold, we will debate that.
Yeah.
I was not prepared for this. Do you have the overall
Do
bracket?
you want to
ready?
wait and just do it?
No,
do it
I
on
mean,
the next one.
We can do it right now. I'm good with it if
Yeah.
you want to.
Let's just
All
bang it out real quick.
right.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Boom, boom. Let me pull
Sure.
that up here. Do you have it pulled up for you? Do you want to say?
But
All right. Well, I'll lead it here.
Yeah.
I don't have that specific bracket cropped out, but I'll just pull up the original. So this is the Total Divas bracket.
I got it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So kind of playing off the old wrestling girls reality show they had. Wrestling Total Divas. That show, great name. We're going to use it here because wide receivers are often called divas in the NFL if they have any kind of personality. And we've got plenty of personality here. So
we do.
let's run through the matchups here. We got the 1 and 8 seed, my boy, the T.O. show, going against Deshaun Jackson, who likes to get rid of the football before he clears the end zone. Electric. We've got Keyshawn Johnson and Odell Beckham Jr. as the 4-5 seed. We've got Randy Moss versus Steve Smith as the 2-7. And we've got AB versus Chad Johnson or Chad Ochocinco, Mr. I Eat McDonald's Every Meal, at the 3-6 matchup. You ready for this?
Yeah, this is a good bracket.
All right. Yeah, let's run through it. 1-8.
1-8. Terrell Owens.
Yeah.
over
We
Deshaun
won't waste any time.
Yeah.
We got T.O.
T.O. We know T.O. We know T.O.'s story. Sean Jackson, somewhat big personality.
Deserves to be on the list.
Yeah, said some controversial things in the past couple years too. So does not deserve to move on our list. Like not good controversy.
We're not going to reward that behavior. That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
All right.
Deshaun, and he wore an Eagles uniform. Well, so did T.O., I guess. But so 4-5. Keyshawn versus Odell. This is a little tougher.
This is a tough one. Keyshawn Johnson was like one of the original, he might have been one of the original diva wide receivers.
He was in that group with Randy and T.O. as far as the guys that you and maybe Joe.
But he
Warren.
was even a little like his prime was a little.
It was before, yeah, sure. Yeah, he's in that wave. He might have been the first. Well, I mean,
I'm pretty sure he wrote a
Michael
book.
Irvin.
He wrote a book called
"Throw Me the Damn Ball."
Throw me the damn ball. I mean, that's I don't know how much more diva than that it gets. Like you had to write a book about it. Odell Beckham though, I mean, he's had a few different
proposing to
incidents. Yeah, just like that other. Remember when he got in, like a fight with that other guy like on the field? He didn't even
Josh Norman. Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Josh Norman. Allegedly gets pooped on. Allegedly.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
that was
a lot of things that go into Odell.
My fantasy football team was named after Odell Beckham.
Yeah, of course.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Allegedly.
I can't go down this road. I'm going with OBJ here.
Yeah, OBJ.
There's too
much. I like me some Keyshawn. Keyshawn was great.
I do too. I'm going with OBJ.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a dynamic.
He's pretty good. Like post, he still commentates football, right? Doesn't he? Is he on?
Yeah, he's on ESPN. Yeah, he's on ESPN.
Yeah.
And that's not to take anything away from his divaness. He's definitely an all-timer. He's a 4 seed for a reason. I think Odell. Maybe it's just recency bias, but there's a little more flash to Odell, and he's a better player, so I think he's got more of a spotlight. So OBJ will move on. Let's go to Randy Moss and Steve Smith. On the surface, this seems
before we do. definitely Odell, but Keyshawn Johnson is like is like an all-time sports name too. I just want to give that to him.
Great
I feel
name.
like Keyshawn Johnson is like, I always thought that was like a great.
It is a good
NFL
name. Yeah, I agree.
Isn't going to get him past Odell, but just
No.
want to put that out there.
No,
Yeah.
but nice name. Well, yeah, that can be his consolation prize here.
Yeah.
He has a great name. Let's go again. 2-7 Moss versus Steve Smith, and on the surface might seem like a blowout. Steve Smith, he's got a personality. He's got some of the best touchdown celebrations of all time, and he might be the best trash talker on this list.
Yeah, no, you're right. Steve Smith, yeah, he's underrated personality. Like he would not hesitate to fight someone on the field. He he's had some crazy post game quotes and on field interviews like I've seen with him where like he just like kind of has like gone off. Definitely had like a quick trigger or some like temper issues. It was,
I always related to that guy.
Would gladly fight you. Yeah, exactly. And was like, he was like a smaller guy, a lot of personality for a smaller guy, and a great player. As good as Randy Moss?
Yes.
No. Right?
But definitely Hall of Famer.
Yes, definitely a Hall of Famer. Randy Moss, though, man, I mean, he could have been in the GOAT bracket too. Yeah. If you think about it, but I think Randy Moss has much more like iconic moments. So there was the
Mooning Lambo,
Straight Cash, homie.
Straight Cash, homie.
And even just like there's that iconic picture of him versus your Cowboys, I believe, on Thanksgiving.
It's rookie year, Thanksgiving. Yep.
Just the picture of him where he's on the sidelines and it's like 3 catches, 167
yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. That's an iconic moment.
That moment is why CeeDee Lamb got drafted. That moment is why Jerry Jones has not forgotten not drafting Randy Moss when we could have. Oh, God damn it.
All right, so Randy
Moss is going on. I just wanted to make sure we gave Steve Smith some proper credit.
Exactly. No, Steve Smith definitely deserved to be on the
7 seed might be a little low for him right there, now that I'm thinking about it. But let's go to the 3 and 6. We've got Antonio Brown versus Chad Johnson. I mean, I don't know if
the hardest one.
When you think of divas, these are two who T.O. and Randy Moss. Those guys, at least you could argue, probably the best 2-3 wide receivers of all time. They're in that. The numbers say it. They're great. These guys, great players, but they're not on that level. But they do a lot of talking. They do a lot of celebrating.
There, though. Yeah, Antonio Brown, in terms of like, if you look at his stats, what he did for like 7 years.
He could have been, but he kind of derailed it.
Like he's like one of 2 guys that do that. I think it's like him and like Jerry Rice or something. And like Antonio Brown's 3, Chad Johnson's 6. Like these could be flipped even. Like
very
this was
easily.
A tough bracket to seed. I'll give you that. Man, this one's so hard. Chad Johnson was, I think, I said Keyshawn was like the originator maybe of the diva. Chad Johnson brought it to like the extreme.
I think he's the one that made it fun. It wasn't
the one that made it
an annoying
fun.
diva. He's a fun diva.
Yeah. But also like, you can argue people didn't like to necessarily be his teammate because like he wouldn't shut up, right? Like so it is diva level where it's like God, I hate this guy, right? And definitely the opposing team hated him, which is I think is a factor in this. Like if you're a fan of a team that plays them, like in a division rival, you definitely have to hate that guy. Like when he scores the touchdown on you because he's going to dance in your face. Keyshawn was the ultimate after touchdown dance originator. Like he had a lot of different moves, go-to moves. He had
the Hall of Fame jacket where he took over the camera,
changing his goddamn name to Chad Ochocinco, like legitimately.
I think that
crazy move. Yeah,
I think that's what does it for me. I think he's got the better touchdown celebrations.
Yeah.
Okay. I think he doesn't have like Antonio Brown. Part of the reason why he's on here is the off the field stuff. Yeah, he definitely went crazy.
Antonio Browns are like like some of his stuff is like not really funny. Like
He's
like,
more
yeah, It's like-
modern, like he's more juju with like the modern. He's more social media celebration
also,
kind of guy.
but
Let
do
me
you
do
know
the
what I mean?
popular.
Like,
yeah, I get you.
some of his off the field stuff is like
Yeah.
not necessarily
Yeah.
like laughing matters. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, damn, like you might be like a
Sure.
real piece of shit.
Yeah.
So there's that. Yeah, like there's that factor.
I
too,
think
yeah.
the name change
Yeah, puts it
sets it up. I mean, greatest touchdown celebrator of all time, Chad Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Change the name. Great on the mic. I mean, have you
Unbelievable player too. Yeah.
I don't think he's not as good of a player as Antonio Brown. I don't think, but I don't think he's as appreciated as he should be. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame conversation, and maybe he will. He is one of my favorite. Maybe him and Marshawn Lynch. One of my favorite guys when they're mic'd up. I don't want to listen to that guy because they're hilarious. And he kicked the field goal in a preseason game. I mean, or an extra point in a preseason game. So we're going Ocho here.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was a great player too, man. Like I'll tell
he
you.
was. I agree.
If like he had some of the best like footwork and like hands out of any guy in this list. He just really didn't have like the same athletic ability as some of these other guys, but his footwork and his hands, dude, he was up there. So Chad Johnson, Chad Ochocinco, moving on.
The Bengals get a win here. Good for them.
Bengals.
Might be the only one they get all year. Let's go to the I guess it's a 1-5 matchup. T.O. versus OBJ. Look, I get OBJ, and we've talked enough about, Poopgate and that. It's T.O. Like, this isn't even.
T.O. is a 1 seed for a goddamn reason.
I love T.O. I mean, the ab crunches in the driveway.
Yeah. Just
touchdown celebrations. I mean, he's the one that made touchdown celebrations popular. So Chad Johnson and Steve Smith. Oh, the Sharpies and the pom-pom. So good. So for time's sake, we'll go to that real quick. Moss and Ocho. That's tough.
So super tough.
This is not
super
easy.
Tough one. It's like
I think I'm going Ocho Cinco here.
I think I am too, just because it's easy to like think of Randy like because he was a better player and like maybe got more shine, but in terms of like a personality and a diva wide receiver,
we're going Ocho.
Chad Johnson's iconic, and it's got to be
the Ocho show, baby. We're doing it.
Yeah, it had to be out of this bracket. It had to be
these two are
Chad
awesome.
Ochocinco.
This is great. So there we go. So that ends up that. So next episode, we are down to our Elite 8 Total Divas bracket.
We're gonna finish it out next episode.
Yeah, we're gonna finish out next episode.
Yeah.
Dude, this thing's like an hour and a half long.
No, I'm saying next episode we'll finish the bracket. Yeah,
wrapping this bad boy up. So here's the Elite 8. We're gonna have in the Total Divas bracket. We're gonna have the T. Ocho show, Terrell Owens versus Chad Johnson. In the GOAT bracket, we've got Muhammad Ali versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. In the Big Baller brand, we've got Dennis Rodman versus Shaquille O'Neal. And in the Popeye bracket, the only bracket that had no upsets, Mike Tyson versus Lawrence Taylor. We will narrow it down from 8 to 1 on the next episode of the pod. We got to wrap this thing up. Do you have anything that you want to tell the peeps?
Not much. Looking forward. We didn't talk too much about it. We'll probably recap it next week, though. Definitely, looking forward to the Masters this weekend. I'm, no Tiger, obviously, but I think that it's going to be back at the right time of year. Back in, some fans will be there in Augusta. I think it's going to be a great tournament. I'm excited to watch the Masters again, man.
Yeah, man. So the next episode we will recap what happened with the Masters. Hopefully something good goes on there. We'll finish up the bracket. We'll start talking about the NFL draft that's happening April 29th because it is time to do it, and I love it. And we'll see whatever else happens, this week. It's been a crazy week. I'm sure something else in sports will happen, but anything else? You ready? You done? We finished here?
Let's do it.
All right, guys. We got things to go do. We appreciate the hell out of y'all for watching, listening, however you are taking in this phenomenal content. If you're on Facebook, leave a like. Put in the comments who you think's coming out of this bracket. Who's going to win the Bush League Bros All Sports Personality Bracket. If you don't follow us, follow us. If you don't subscribe to us, subscribe to us. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, that's Paul. I'm Brett. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Bush League. Bush League.
Punch you right in the mouth. That's Bush. Bush League.